Okay, so this is part 3 of putting of the Miele Blizzard, cleaning it, servicing it. So this is stuff you're intended to do at home. So the first part was taking this apart, using an air compressor to blow out all the components that I could, and the inside of this, at least this part. Part 2 is washing these parts and letting them dry. I thought I was going to have to let these dry for 24 hours, but I had them in front of a fan and they're dry now. And that was only a few hours ago that I had put them in front of the fan. The filter's very, very, very dry. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back together and finish cleaning it up. But we do need to clean the rest of this main unit out before we put these components back in. Definitely the seals. I like to actually wipe down the whole unit, but if you want to just do the bare minimum, you need to do the inside of here, especially the seal. And that way, you know, in the future when you're taking this apart, if it has no dust in it, or if there is dust in it, you're gonna know that it's leaking dust from somewhere. All right, so we're gonna start with wiping on this main unit. I'm gonna put this iPhone on my tripod. If I can, come on, there we go. I'm gonna let it focus in. All right. So this is the area that I've noticed dust build up, if it does build up dust, but the way I've been assembling this and using it, I haven't noticed hardly anything back there. The dirt on this seal does not extend, but more than like a 1/16 of an inch out from where the airflow is. So I don't think that the what am I trying to say? Dust is leaking from here anymore. And this is where it used to before I realized that I was putting this dustbin back together incorrectly. So I'm gonna grab my vacuum maintenance pack thing that I have. And I've got some cleaning products in it. I like to use automotive cleaning products. They just seems to lubricate things well, add a gloss, protect the paint. I really like this product. The Meguiar Last Touch Spray Detailer. It says it removes dust, smudges, fingerprints, and contaminants. Produces incredible depth, shine, and gloss. That's a big statement. That's a promising a lot right there, but I think that means it has like oils or something in it, to kind of give it a gloss. But I use this all over the machine. I have used other products before, but other products tend to cause dirt to stick to the machine, more so than it's just the machine by itself with the static. It, like some products, the residue will make dirt cling to it as you vacuum through your house. So I just like to actually, I'm gonna use my microfiber rag. I'm gonna spray a little bit of this on the rag, and I'm gonna just wipe the seals as far as I can get it around them. I've also taken that product to my car and it did a really good job on the interior. But my favorite car, actually, for the car cleaning product is a brand called Chemical Guys. Walmart retailers, they sell some of their products in store, but if you want to get all of them or most of them, or you know what I mean, go to Amazon or the Chemical Guys website. I especially like their leather cleaner and then their leather conditioner. I don't like the 2-in-1s, but these products, the Meguiar's and Chemical Guys, is the best I've found. So I did blow this out, but there was still a little bit of dirt left. Not much, but definitely a little bit. And this is what you gotta do if you want to prevent your bagless vacuum from developing an odor. My friend, she had a Shark vacuum, and she traded it in for a rainbow, which she loves, but her shark, shit smelled horrible. Could not turn it on for 2 seconds. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. Now I'm going to wipe down the outside of this. Just going to slightly spray it. I'm going to avoid spraying it into the areas like down here is where the HEPA exhaust filter is, which by the way is not removable. But you want to make sure you don't spray it into that or onto the electronics. If you want to clean an area where there's a computer board or an electronics, you want to just spray it on the rag and then onto, and then you can wipe it down, but don't spray it directly on it. Part of the reason why you have to do this is because all that dirt that gets caught in the machine of a bagless vacuum has bacteria, and that multiplies and grows and spreads and off gases horrible odors. Just the intake. This Miele Blizzard is actually a pretty simple machine. I believe that Miele calls their bagless lines, their bagless canister line, the CX1 series. And to get into little crevices, this is a trick I learned from an automotive detail shop, and I worked for an automotive detailer. This is a slot screwdriver. So if there's like an area that your rag just can't get to, or a Q-tip, you can take a slot screwdriver and like this, so like a point, and then you can just go around the area that you're not able to get to without it. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm gonna try to. Okay. So now that I've wiped the main unit down, you want to use microfiber rags to do this, where it will scratch the paint. It's kind of like a car paint job. I mean, it doesn't have a clear coat on it, but I use products that are for automotive paint jobs on this, and it produces really good results. If you ever do want to get the HEPA exhaust filter replaced, I'm pretty sure you can pay a Miele authorized store or technician to do that for you, but they have to completely disassemble the main motor unit to get to it. And I'm sure it's not a cheap part, but I would do that after like 5 or 10 years. This Gore filter does catch 99.9% of the dust that comes through the machine. So, but what it doesn't catch is the motor carbon. So the HEPA exhaust filter is designed to catch like minute particles, like bacteria, maybe like viruses that are just super, super, super small, or the particles that the motor releases, like carbon dust. Another thing I like about these microfiber rags is they don't leave smudges or scratches. They just leave a really nice finish. And I like the white paint job on this because it doesn't show those tiny little scratches as badly as the deeper colors do, like blue or black or red. All right, so that part is done. I'll let you look at that. And one reason I know the Gore filter in this works really, really well is because where the dust exits the cartridge is like down in here, and there's never any dust back here. So I feel like if the Gore filter was not cleaning very well, or if it was letting particles pass by, there would be at least a buildup of something there, but there never is when I look at it. Obviously there's not going to be right now because I've cleaned the crap out of it. but it's just a kind of reassurance. All right, and if you really want to go crazy, you can polish this with the Meguiar's Ultimate Polish, and that'll kind of basically buff the paint job and get minor imperfections out with a microfiber rag. You don't want to let that dry. Go in circular motions. Once you wipe all that off, you can use the Meguiar's Carnauba Plus wax, and that'll protect the paint finish on it and keep it really glossy and cool looking. As you can see, I've got a lot of time on my hands this fall. What is that? Okay. Let's see, what else do I got? I'll show you how to use these laundry scent beads to scent the air that comes out of this machine. So our next step is going to be definitely putting all of this back together. So as you can see, this is entirely clean. All of the components are very clean and clear, no dust anywhere. So first thing we want to do, we're going to put this back together. So as I said earlier, this is the intake where the dirt comes into the dustbin, or at least on this part. And this is the exit area where the airflow exits out through into the dustbin. You want to make sure that this is on the opposite side of this. So when you put it in, it'll look like that. I'm going to show you where this is in the machine. So when you have this installed into the dustbin, it's pressed up against this that seal, and this is where the dust can leak through if you don't put this into the dustbin correctly. So you don't forget this piece either. You want to like line these little notches up to the notches on here and just press it in. I'll set that aside. We'll put these tools back inside of the Miele. Up and snap in place. People do not like this tool on this machine, but I do, because I know it's little, but these rubber strips really grab pet fur, and the suction channels are so narrow that it really causes the airflow and suction pressure to get really dense per square centimeter, I guess, square inch. But anyway, it just makes it, the suction pressure in this extremely strong. It feels very sturdy too. So that snaps into place. The only gripe I have about the attachments on this is I wish it had an onboard dusting brush. That's probably the attachment I use the most. I mean, I use this upholstery tool on my pillows and whatnot, but not as often as I use the dusting brush. Okay. Now we need to install the mesh screen, and as I said earlier, it lines up with these guides. So I'm going to slide it in like that, and then there's that resistance. I feel there's like a resistance, and at that point you just push it in, and it snaps into place very snugly. I have noticed on my vacuum that there's a lot of dust that gets caught inside of the screen. So when I dump it, all of the stuff in the unit will fall out, but there will be a lot of fur and whatnot caught in here. If I vacuum my pillows, that's especially bad when I vacuum my pillows or my bed. There's going to be like a lot of dust or debris and crud just stuck in here, nasty stuff. So that's why you want to take that out every now and then, just tap it off. Or when you deep clean it like I am right now. So that's completed. Now when you press this is where it gets tricky. So this is designed to just kind of go into the back of this like that, but you don't want to stop there. And you can kind of tell where you're at if you've installed it correctly with how this handle folds down. If it's not folding down all the way, like if you feel resistance like that, it's not in right. You gotta push it in, but the way you push it in is very important. So you kind of just drop it in like this. You put your thumbs on both sides, right here and right here. Snap it in on the top left corner, and you'll feel it, but sometimes you can hear it. And then on the right side, there are these grooves that you don't want to push it in all the way down to the very bottom of these grooves. It's like halfway is where it needs to be. And that's where I think people mess up, because if you push it down all the way, it actually pulls this side up out a little bit, and then that's where dust will come out from around here and out of here, and then it'll get all over the area right here. So I'm going to snap it in again, top left corner. I didn't do that on right. See how it lines up with these grooves? All right, so I'm going to snap it in the top left corner. And then on the right side of it, I'm going to just lower it about halfway. All right. And then it snapped into place. If you can see, this is not pushed down all the way into the grooves. There's like a 1/4 inch of space left. That's kind of how you want it. And then this handle should fold flat very easily. It shouldn't just like have absolutely no resistance, but it should feel like it's just kind of snug in place. So when you pull the handle back up, if it's installed correctly, you'll feel a little bit of resistance when you pull it up, and when you push it down, you'll feel a little bit of resistance. So that's correctly assembled. Nowhere in the Miele manual does it mention this. All right, now we're going to assemble this part. So if you want to scent your vacuum, it's on a bagged vacuum, all you have to do is suck these laundry beads up into the vacuum bag, or pour them into the bag when it's new, or whatever. But on a bagless vacuum, you can't exactly just put them into the dustbin, because you're dumping this every single time you use it, or you should anyway. So the workaround is to put it into the HEPA exhaust filter cartridge, and not all bagless vacuums have this kind of cartridge, but this one has a cartridge, like a assembly that actually this will work in. So I like to do about a cap full. Almost a cap full. I'll start with about that much, and then I'll just pour it in the bottom. And you want to make sure, if you got pets, especially, or babies crawling around, or kids, do not leave any of these out on the floor. They're probably toxic to ingest. I'm sure the bottle says that, but I'm too lazy to look. But I always get nervous that I've lost one, so I really like to be careful with it, and I'll vacuum the area really, really well after I use these. Now I'm going to show you with the phone. I'm going to grab the phone and show you where these beads are. There are these sealed areas at the bottom of this cartridge. And you can see them. They're like these little compartments that these beads sit in, and the filter still fits when I have these in here. So when the airflow comes through here, through the middle of that, it comes through like through the top right here, and then it's pulled, the air is pulled through the filter material into the middle inside of the filter into there, and then it's pulled straight down through the center, and then it exhausts right here into the machine, which then it goes through the HEPA exhaust filter. So now that that is in there, I'm just gonna drop the filter back into it. You want to line this filter up, the arrow right here, to the unlock position arrow on the cartridge. And that's what we will do. And then turn it clockwise to the locking position. And then I start inserting into the Miele Blizzard, like where this filter goes, and then you'll feel a little bit of resistance, but you want to pull it to the left, and it snaps into place like this. So now it's good and snug and locked in there. And then this just slides onto the unit. As you know, you're an owner of this machine, or at least you're looking at one maybe. So there we go. All right, so the main canister unit is done. I'm gonna give it a final wipe down. Oh, man. Now, when you turn this unit on its end like this, since those beads are in that filter, they are going to kind of fall up the or sideways. They might spill out of the filter, but they're not going to get into the motor. They might just kind of spill backwards into the dustbin, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt the machine. I promise. I've done this so many times. At least it hasn't hurt my machine. Like I said earlier, I don't take no liability if you break your machine doing something incorrectly, but this is just how I do it. Then I like to take a little bit of this wax and put a little bit right there, right there. I will rub it in because it makes the dark plastic on this really glossy looking, like it's brand new again. And then it stays that way. So this unit also has a comfort clean mode. And what that means is that Miele calls it comfort clean, but it basically has this feature where it will tap the Gore filter that I just put together for you on the video. It'll tap the dirt off of it. If you don't do that, at some point the machine will do it on its own. It'll turn off. You'll start hearing the sound that sounds like popcorn, and it'll start tapping this thing for about 15 seconds. But if it does it on its own, that means that your filter's too dirty. All right, and even if you dump out the dirt in the filter, if you don't clean the filter, it's still going to do that because there's so much dirt on the filter, or even inside the fibers, that it's restricted the airflow. So it makes the thing, or the machine, think that the filter is clogged, as it is. So your best chance is going to be to clean it really, really well, wash it, get as much dirt out of it as possible, etc. Make sure there's not a clog in the machine, because all it does is sense if the airflow is restricted. All right, so our last step we need to do is the power nozzle. The power nozzle does not require a whole lot of maintenance, but it is not designed to be taken apart by the user. That is one thing about my Dyson I like, and my SIBO vacuums, is that I can take the brush roll out of those machines very, very easily. This one is not designed to do that with. But Miele does give you these lines on the brush roll that you can kind of cut through, and they give it to you on both sides of it. So that's kind of all I do, is I just kind of cut the hair off of it once a month when I blow the vacuum out. But if some people, like my friend who had that shark I was telling you about, she has to do that after every single time she vacuums. She loses hair really, really quickly, and like she like sheds hair. It's so strange. I've known some people to do that though. Or if you have dogs with long hair, long fur. So you have this knife. That's probably going to be a problem as well. So some of the new vacuums, like the new Sharks, they have like self-cleaning brush rolls, but it doesn't work. It just doesn't. It does for a little bit for smaller pieces of hair, but if you have a problem with hair, you're still going to need to clean it. If you don't have a problem with hair, it might take care of the every once in a while strand that gets wrapped around it. Like me, I don't really have an issue with hair. Like it's been a long time since I cleaned this brush roll, and it only has like a few pieces of hair that are caught in it. But if you are someone that really struggles with that kind of technology is not going to work. You'll still have to clean it. And another thing I like about this Miele, some vacuums have a rug plate. They'll have these bars, so the core doesn't get sucked up into the brush roll. But I prefer machines that don't have that. German vacuums like Sebo's and Miele's and Hyla's, they tend to not have that. And what that means is that when this seals to the carpet, this entire length, this entire space is going to get even cleaning. My Dyson has this huge area that it doesn't clean on, so I have to overlap my passes and go a little slower. But it just makes it to where it cleans more efficiently, more evenly, without those areas that are like blocked. So there's more hair there. So I just have a cheap little knife, or you can use scissors. But the point is to go along here and cut along the lines, do it on both sides. And if it's a little bit of hair, you can just go ahead and turn the machine on. It'll suck that hair out through the hose, so you don't have to touch it, but I just prefer to pick it out by hand and then suck it up with a wand after. I would like Miele to, or I would like to see Miele create vacuums that have removable brush rolls in the future, you know. That would be very, very handy, especially on a machine that's expensive. Not everyone has a Miele dealer that they can just run to and take their parts to, or not everyone has a nice Miele dealer that will give them the attention and they're, you know, not try to screw them over and scam them into buying something that they don't need. Personally, I have to drive about 45 minutes one way to get to a Miele dealer that can fix things for me, and she is not a very nice lady. My last Miele, I went and had it serviced, and she did not put the power nozzle back together correctly, so I just don't trust her. She totally denied it too, even though I showed it to her. She swore up and down that it was my fault, even though I had not had the power nozzle and it was in her hands, and she's the one that took it apart and put it back together. It was just ridiculous. And by the way, that lady is a all-type vacuum that works store in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Her name's Kathy, I think. She is not a nice person. B word. We'll say that. Definitely lost my business. Alright, so the brush roll is pretty clean at this point. If you just, you know, you can kind of check down in these holes to see if there's any clogs. I don't see any obstructions. I don't think there were any. It's just a good thing to do. And then once again, just lightly spray it. Rub it off. Wipe it off, I mean. there. Some people complain about this power nozzle. So Miele makes two really good power nozzles. This is the SCB228. It is their second most expensive power nozzle. Their most expensive one is called the SCB236, and that is the one with a headlight. And it has a bumper on it too, but it does not clean as well as this one does. This one will pull you. This one you can feel the vibrations through the carpet. It's louder. You do kind of fight yourself. You fight it because you're constantly having to restrain it. It's kind of like a dog that's trying to run away from you constantly, to run after a squirrel or something. Now the other power nozzle, with the one with the headlight, it is very smooth, very quiet, easy to operate. It feels really good to use, and it does leave really nice carpet lines, but it just does not feel like it has the brush roll performance of this one. Now the one with the headlight can get under lower furniture than this one, but it just tends to have more problems. So I prefer this one. It does soft carpet very, very, very well. Like I mentioned in the part 2 video, I've been using my Blizzard because we recently got soft carpet downstairs, and my Dyson just can't do it. My Kirby can't do it. My Sibo does hard floors fine, but this is a much better job on hard floors, and I've got about 50-50 downstairs, half carpet, half hard floors. So really the Miele is the best vacuum I can be using right now. Its attachments are super easy to use too. So just like the plastic up top, I'm just going to wipe a little bit of wax on this and leave it, make it glossy. I like my stuff to look good. I can take a really worn out looking vacuum and make it perform and look like a new machine very easily. This is kind of what I do to it. If I have the tools and the money, I will take them apart, and like the motors and stuff, and really give them a heavy duty cleaning and replace all the parts. And I've done that before with a few of my machines, but this one doesn't need anything. It's held up very, very, very well. It's my second year, and nothing has ever felt like it's been loosened. Nothing has felt like it's been worn out or has any wear on it. It all still feels like brand new and works like a brand new machine. No odors. I mean, I've had machines that even with this kind of TLC that I give them, they start, like my Dyson. I've had it for just a few months, and it sounds like it's 5 years old. It's very creaky. The plastic on it, just fit and finish. It just feels like it's very old. It feels like it's gonna fall apart. It just feels very cheaply made. But my Miele's, like this one, they really will hold up to heavy use. I'm kind of abusive with my machines too. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm gonna check for obstructions in the wand. Nothing there. Well, there is a little bit, but what is that? Yeah, so there's a little bit of in the wand. I'm gonna get that out with a, let's see, where are my pliers at? I've got some needle nose pliers. There we go. All right, that's good to go. And then lastly, I'll just wipe down the hose ends. I'm gonna be careful in putting these products on the handle because then you'll be touching the handle, then touching other things. So I kind of put it everywhere but the handle. This polish, whatever it is, polish stuff. All right. So that is a completed project. Just put this right here. Then I'll do a quick little demo video of the vacuum. Put all my stuff up. All right, so I'm going to end the video, then will there be a part 4, which is going to be the demo review.